So in this video I'm going to talk about finding a level. Now you guys have probably seen someone finding a level before, although you may not have thought about it that way. Maybe on the side of the road or something you would have seen like a tripod with one of these things on the top, and there's probably some guy, he's like looking into that and he's figuring something out. And there's probably some other guy with another matching tripod somewhere else. What their job, they're called surveyors, and they're figuring out the lay of the land. They're figuring out who owns what, how high something is compared to something else. And that's going to be what this video is about. How high is something compared to something else? I'm going to jump straight into it so you can see what it looks like. Alright, so here's my hill. Okay, so it's a hill, it's got little bumps in it, and it gets higher as we go along. Now, we're going to do some surveying, but we're not going to use this. We're going to use a much more primitive method of surveying. We're going to use like a string and a stick, or a couple of sticks and one string. Alright, so here's how it's going to look. Here's our flat ground. This is our starting spot here. And I'm going to take a stick, quite a tall stick. I'm going to use a stick that's about that tall, maybe a bit taller. Okay, it's quite a tall stick. I'm going to say it's like 2.3 meters long. Now I'm going to draw another stick over here. Okay, so there's another stick. Now I'm going to take a piece of string . That's a piece of string. Should make it. It's a piece of string between the two sticks. And let's say this stick is 0.6 meters long. Now, this is a pretty simple setup. Now, the important thing is that that string is level. You can use like a little spirit level that straps onto the string. Now, as long as the string is level, that's 2.3, that's 0.6. So the sort of question we're asking is, how high is that piece of land? Okay, so 2.3 from the ground to the stick. So if the land was this high, it would be 2.3 meters long. But 2.3 meters high. But it's not 2.3 meters high. It's that, and then minus the stick here. So I'm going to call that point B. So point B, height, equals the height of that stick, 2.3, minus the height of that stick, 0.6. That's going to be 1.7 meters. So what that really looks like is, what I'm saying is, if you could somehow look inside the mountain, we could say that this length here is 1.7 meters. Okay, so that's 1.7 meters high. If a person was standing here and another person was standing here, this person would be 1.7 meters higher than this person. Now, the fantastic thing about this is that you can survey a whole mountain by doing this. So, for instance, now that I know that that's 1.7 meters high, I could place another stick on top of that. We'll make that stick 2.5 meters high. Okay, and we can run another string to a stick here that's 0.4. Okay, now this is an interesting setup because this is point C. Point C height from point B. So point B is here, 2.5 along the string, and then down 0.4. So point C's height from point B is 2.5 minus 0.4. And that's 2.1 meters. So in other words, if I was to draw a straight line through the mountain and then upwards, that would be 2.1 meters. And then finally, and this is the really great bit, this is how people figure out how high Everest is. If we keep climbing up our mountain, boop, 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 we can figure out the height from, I guess this is point A. We can figure out the height from point A to point C. So from point A to point B is 1.7. From point B to point C is 2.1. So point A to point C is equal to that height, 1.7, plus that height, 2.1. So point C is 3.8 meters higher than point A. All right, that's been pretty involved, but that's finding a level.